The news didn't just break, it detonated. A single message, dropped out of nowhere, slicing through the quiet morning like a lightning bolt. A final spot has suddenly opened. And in an instant, all of Japan's high school baseball world turned its head toward Kyushu. People whispered before they spoke. They stared before they reacted. Because no one, not a single soul, expected that name to resurface. All it took was one rumor, one spark, before social media exploded into a frenzy. Messages raced through timelines like wildfire. Screens lit up. Coaches paused mid-practice. Players froze mid-throw. Alumni group chats erupted. Every fan could feel it. Something massive was unfolding. And deep in Kyushu, a team that once stood at the top of summer baseball found itself waking up to a possibility they thought was long gone. They didn't ask for this chance. They didn't beg for it. But suddenly, destiny had cracked open its door, just wide enough for them to peer inside. The stadium where they practiced felt different that day. The sun was the same, the dirt was the same, the echoes of bat and glove were the same. But the air carried tension. The kind of tension that only appears when hope rises from the dead. Some players hid their nerves behind smiles. Some tried to act unfazed. But anyone watching closely could see their hands tremble, even just a little. Because after a disappointing fall, after months of hearing doubts and criticism, after a summer championship that felt like a lifetime ago, this was a lifeline they never expected. The coach felt it too. He stood at the edge of the field, arms folded, staring at his team like a man who had just seen a ghost from the past. He knew better than anyone that opportunities like this, miracles like this, don't come twice. But he also knew one more thing. Sometimes, fate tests you before it blesses you. A single committee decision would determine everything. A single sentence. A single announcement. And until that moment arrived, all they could do was prepare, as if the gates of Koshien were already waiting for them. The sound of their batting practice grew louder. Sharper. Each swing felt like a declaration. Each pitch snapped through the air like a promise. These weren't drills. These were statements. Because this wasn't a team chasing a dream. This was a team trying to reclaim a throne. Fans began gathering near fences and nets, watching, whispering, praying. Some had tears in their eyes. Some had hope. Some had doubt. But all of them shared one electric thought. What if? What if the committee remembered the fire of summer? What if they still believed in Kyushu's fallen kings? What if redemption was closer than anyone believed? No one dared say it aloud, but the question hovered in every heart: could the summer champions rise again? Reporters circled the uncertainty like hawks. Headlines shifted every hour. Analysts argued on TV. Former players shared memories online. And through all the noise, through all the chaos, one truth became clear. Kyushu had become the center of the nation's heartbeat. Night fell, but sleep never arrived. Not for the players. Not for the coaches. Not for the fans refreshing their phones until their fingers hurt. The training lights burned long past curfew, casting a warm glow across the infield, a glow that looked, just for a moment, like the shimmering lights of Koshien itself. Inside the locker room, old photos of their summer heroics stared back at them. Smiles. Laughter. Dog piles on the mound. The feeling of immortality. Memories that once comforted them, now reminded them of how far they had fallen. But tonight, those memories fueled them. They reminded them of who they truly were. A player tightened his glove straps, whispering to himself. Another stared at his reflection, practicing the grin he'd show the camera if they got the call. Another closed his eyes and muttered a prayer, holding on to nothing but belief. The coach gathered them in a circle. No speeches. No dramatics. Just one sentence. If the door opens, we run through it. Morning came like a drumbeat. The entire country was watching. The committee was ready. The announcement was moments away. Phones were held tightly. Hearts even tighter. And then, silence. Every screen froze. Every breath halted. The Kyushu boys huddled together in the locker room, arms interlocked, the way they did before their summer championship game. But this time, they weren't about to step onto a field. They were about to step into fate. The message appeared. One line. One verdict. And as the words spread across Japan like a shockwave, the players' eyes widened, not in fear, but in disbelief. In hope. In emotion that flooded the room faster than any celebration or heartbreak ever could. Because whether it was joy or devastation, resurrection or final closure, everyone felt the moment hit like thunder. Tears came. Laughter came. Shouts came. A roar exploded from somewhere in the back of the room. Gloves were thrown into the air. The coach lowered his head, covering his eyes as the weight of months lifted from his shoulders. Kyushu was alive again. Fans screamed across social media. Videos poured in. Streets erupted. Alumni celebrated like they had just won a championship all over again. The whole region felt reborn. Because the Summer Kings had been granted one more battle. The players ran onto the field, not walking, not jogging, but sprinting, as if time itself was chasing them. The dirt flew beneath their cleats. The sun hit their jerseys with a glow that felt almost cinematic. And in their eyes, there was no doubt. No fear, no hesitation, only hunger, only revival, only the fire of a team that had tasted greatness once, and was ready to taste it again. The final spot wasn't just an invitation. It was a challenge, a dare, a whispered message from baseball itself. Show us if the Summer Kings still live. And as the echoes of their practice thundered across Kyushu, one thing became certain, something no announcement, no ranking, no prediction could deny. A storm was coming, a revival was brewing, and the summer champions were ready to rise once more.